Good evening, kids. How is everybody doing? I hope everybody's having a great hump day. We are live. Yes, indeed. And we have several topics to talk about. There's a few things I want to go over with the news, but of course, the dominating news, the big splash that happened today, and it's going to keep going for, I think, about a week or so. I don't know how many days they're going to be doing the whole circus, but the circus is in town, and we're going to be talking about the impeachment inquiry, which is goodness, oh my god! I sat through it. It was like 5 hours worth of just mind-numbingly boring nonsense. And yeah, it was it wasn't great. It wasn't great. Yeah, you're welcome, big fat head. Yeah, first of all, welcome everybody. Let's before we go into the news, let me greet everybody as I usually do. Hello, everyone at Bitwave, bitwave.tv, the true home of free speech. Thank you, Sir Dispatch, for making this possible. Want to thank all the folks there at D Live. If you want to throw lemons my way so I can bow to my lemon overlords, you may do so. I will not object. And I want to thank everyone watching on Periscope and watching on YouTube. Which, oddly enough, I was restreaming. I was doing a stream snipe. Of the impeachment inquiry, and apparently I got a copyright strike, not strikes, but copyright notices, 2 of them. One from CNN and another from some other thing. I'm surprised that a hearing would generate copyright issues. Go figure. What the hell? I have no idea. I may have to do because after the impeachment inquiry, I actually streamed there was a presser between Trump and Erdogan. Hopefully I got the name correct for the president of Turkey, and maybe in between that, the ABC had something going on. I don't know. There's something must have triggered something on YouTube. I really don't know what exactly happened. And no, I won't say the funny word unless there's a really good reason for me to bring it up. There's no reason for me to just say it. So before we get into the really big news, I want to cover just some minor things minor. They're smaller news items. One is that relates to. Actually, I'll skip that for now. Since it relates to the impeachment inquiry, I'll move that towards when I'm actually going to speak about the inquiry. One of the big news items is Rep. Peter King. He's a New York Republican rep. He's not going to seek re-election in 2020. And that is another Republican who will not seek re-election, which is there's this interesting trend that's happening. A lot of Republicans aren't seeking re-election, like longtime Republicans, and I think this is just my theory. I don't really have much to go off of this, but my theory behind that is that you have a shift in the conservative movement. You have a lot of millennials that are coming into the conservative movement in different avenues. And I just don't think that these dinosaur, long-time dynasty career politicians really appeal to them, even though they may actually go along with the I gotta update the text here, actually. Let me hold up. I forget about that text sometimes. There we go. I also rearranged my interface a little bit because I wanted to have something a bit more organized. I still don't like my interface, and I may end up changing my entire background and everything graphically. So if anyone has some suggestions about how I should get this to look like a nice production, by all means. I mean, I'm open to suggestions. Follow me on Twitter. DM me some suggestions if you like. No genital pics, please. But anyways, if there's any suggestions, send them my way. Burn it all down. Pay someone $5 or $10. Who's not following the rules tonight? Oh, someone's streaming. Who's streaming? See, I have the quote, Mom Patch's quote up. You got to follow that now. See, if you're streaming when I'm streaming, Mom Patch said it. You're a faggot. I'm sorry. It is what it is. That's the rule. Sorry. We're not gonna name names, Mom Patch. Okay. No names so far. So they're like the whistleblower. We shall not speak of the names. All right. Anyways. So what I was saying about the reps, about the Republicans, is that I feel that no matter how much they are involved in the conservative movement or pro-Trump or MAGA or whatever flavor of conservatism or libertarian, like whatever flavor of conservatism you're interested in, I feel that, excuse me, I feel that these older Republicans just don't have that sort of appeal anymore. And I think that a lot of people are just tired of the usual swamp politicians, even if these politicians do in fact support and work hard and actually follow conservative principles. So there is definitely demographic shifts. There's definitely age demographic shifts that are happening. And Steven Crowder actually made a very interesting video about this, talking about how the Zoomers, are really, and millennials and Zoomers are actually, statistically speaking, probably the most conservative generation that's come around in a while compared to their previous generations. And statistically speaking, the older you get, the more conservative you get. So that's actually something good for the conservative movement. Many people are led to believe that the millennials and the Zoomers are the most liberal and progressive generations ever, and that statistically just doesn't add up. And I could, once I upload, well, not upload, but, well, yeah, once I upload this to Bitwave, or once the stream is over, I can actually provide the link to Steven Crowder's video, or at least to the sources that he provides, because, I mean, why reinvent the wheel? He did all the research already. I might as well be the monkey on his back, so to speak, and just use the research that he's done. Because if I do research, I'm probably going to end up using the same sources, if not similar. So I'll see if I can. I'll see what I can do about that. They're mainly half-pilled. Well, I mean, they support more conservative. They're more conservative in general. Like, I'm not saying that they're conservative in everything that they do in their lives and every decisions that they make. But the thing is, statistically speaking, as you get older, generally you get more conservative because you start paying taxes. So you start caring about where your money is going. You may have kids, so you start caring about what happens with your kids in schools, how they're raised. You may end up serving in the military, which means then you're more keen on what's happening overseas if you're deployed, things of that nature. So life experience forces people to view the world in a slightly different way then these students that are just so sheltered in these universities, or they're sheltered for kids, need more health care for you and your kids. Absolutely, Mom Patch. That is correct. As you get older, then you also have to worry about your health, because generally younger generations don't always have the same health issues that you get when you get older. When you get older, your joints get a little creakier. You start getting little issues, depending on how crazy your youth was. That too. Lifestyle decisions when you're young do affect you when you're older. Yeah, there definitely is a problem with that's absolutely right. Troll 8058. You say Troll 8058 says, I say half pilled because they still have horrific reactions to certain aspects of free speech that has been baked into them, despite be woke on a lot of issues. And okay, Jewy. All right, Jewy. You're right. You're absolutely right. In fact, at the University of North Texas, there was this article that I saw recently where someone said the funny word. They were talking about free speech. They were giving a lecture, and I guess it was a seminar or a lecture on free speech, and it was one of the attorneys that worked for that institution, for that university. And they were giving an example. They said, you can't talk about free speech if you don't say, very insulting things sometimes. So this attorney that worked for the university giving this lecture used the funny word in an example, and some students lost their minds. I don't know if those students were conservative or liberal. The article doesn't specify. It just says that, people got offended just by the mere hearing of the word, even though she was speaking about a constitutional, legal, and academic matter. And this is the problem that we have in the society nowadays. Is that God, that image? Is that people tend to react too emotionally to things. And there's a time and place for an emotional reaction to things. But there's also time and place for reason and logic and the law. And you have to also consider the context of when something is being said. Oh, sorry about the silence there. I just saw a link here from Spooks. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, I had seen that. The article says, Jim Jordan remark backfires in impeachment hearing. Jim Jordan called on the whistleblower to testify before the House Intelligence Committee to hear from the person who, quote-unquote, started it all. Rep. Peter Welch says the person who actually started all this, President Trump, and everybody thought that was, oh, what a burn. Please. That's weak. Actually, if we want to really say who started it all, we should talk to the people in the FBI. That's really who are the people who started this all, because they were unhappy about how the election went. I mean, the attorney that was in this impeachment inquiry was a guy who, when was it? Shortly after the election, he's quoting, that the coup has started in 2017. Come on, give me a break. But anyways, we'll talk about the impeachment inquiry in a moment here. So Rep. King is not going to seek re-election. He says he's still going to be involved in politics. He's going to just do it in different ways. So I guess he's just bowing out. So I find that interesting. The other thing that's really interesting right now, this has been a big topic of debate, the whole DACA thing. and it's going to the Supreme Court. It actually already went. I think oral arguments have already been completed, and now there's going to be deliberation. So probably around June is when we're going to hear back and see, what the result of that is. I think it's pretty obvious what my reaction to that is going to be, or what I believe should be. Not only because I lean conservative, but also because this whole DACA thing was ridiculous from a constitutional point of view. If you're looking at it from just a legal constitutional point of view, Obama, he himself said he did not have the authority to do this. He did this to push Congress to pass legislation. So I don't even know why this is something that's being litigated. I don't know why this is something that's being debated, argued about. Why is there even a legal issue at hand here to be discussed? There really isn't. There absolutely isn't. What's going on with all these ants in chat? I don't know. I'm just seeing an army of ants scrolling in my chat here. So I in Bitwave chat, by the way, not all the other chats. I'm not looking at the other chats. This probably has to do with Psych. He's streaming and drawing something probably stuck in a wall because that's what he usually does. Yeah, they're killing the conservative. Anyways, but yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand the concept of DACA being something that has to be talked about or debated in the courts when Obama himself said, I don't have the legal authority to do this. Yeah, it seems like we're going to need some more rules, Mom Patch. Lay down the law. Well, I'll put them up. So one thing that I found also interesting, there was this news article. That there was an accidental release of documents that relates to psychoelectric weapons. And there's like these diagrams that show like how electromagnetism affects people in different ways and makes them do stuff. It's really, really weird. And I know that the government has done a lot of experiments with this. This isn't something that's really secret, honestly. It really isn't. However, this was like a FOIA thing, I think, a Freedom of Information Act, or it was a journalist that was asking for information from some university or some institution, and somehow they had this information. They sent it to him by accident, and when the reporter tried to reach back, they like ignored it as if it never happened. So it's weird. It's really kind of weird. It's odd that government deals with this sort of thing. It's not surprising, honestly. And I know here within Bitwave, for example, some people believe that there's this sort of mind control thing. I don't really believe in mind control. I'm going to be a bit controversial for people in Bitwave. I don't really believe in that. And the reason why I don't believe in that is because I don't really believe that people can be controlled like a marionette, that you just go click and they do whatever, like zombies, like a robot. However, said that, I do believe that you can exert influence on people in different ways. And it's easier, it is definitely easier to control individuals if they are subjected to trauma, because their minds will not be equipped to properly deal with the world around them, with stimuli, with situations. They will not have the proper developmental tools to manage and deal with that sort of thing. So it is easy. I mean, like for example, one of the easiest examples of this sort of mind playing tricks on people and manipulating people is Stockholm syndrome, where if you sequester someone for a period of time, then you can this person actually will start feeling some sort of like affection or affinity towards their captors. So there is definitely something to be said about how the human psyche is somewhat malleable, and it's manipulate. People can manipulate it. But at the same time, I don't believe in like look at the watch, you're getting sleepy kind of thing. I don't believe in that sort of mind control. That to me, I don't believe that that's truly possible. I don't know why people are spamming ants. I don't understand what's going on. But anyway, I guess we're just gonna have ants for this stream. So one of the biggest things that I wanted to talk about, I'm spreading mainstream propaganda. That's not how it works. I just don't believe it because I have not seen any concrete example of someone showing this sort of thing actually working. I don't believe it's misinformation. I think it's just a reasoned approach. So I guess the biggest news, like I mentioned, the biggest news that happened today is the impeachment inquiry. There was the first public hearing, and I'm not going to really go for a point for point for point. Well, I mean, if it's a really nice watch, I mean, someone in chat asked, but what if it's a really nice watch? Well, if it's a really nice watch, I'll look at the watch, but it won't influence me. It won't make me fall asleep or fall under the influence of someone. But anyways, going back to the impeachment inquiry. Actually, before I go into that, one final last thing that I would want to say about the mind control thing. The other reason why I don't think it really truly exists, that you can actually control a person like a robot, like a robot, or anything like that, is because if there was a successful way of doing that, don't you think that governments would already employ that? So I would think that they would control their entire population. You wouldn't need elections. You wouldn't need elections. You wouldn't need any sort of decision-making process that involves your population. If you can just go click everybody, you feel your brain getting bumpier, Spooks. Good for you. It just doesn't make sense to me. That's all I'm saying. I think that you can propagandize, you can mess with people's heads, you can manipulate people, and like I said, the human psyche is somewhat fragile and malleable. So it is definitely possible to mess around with people. Absolute control over them? I don't think so. But that's just my opinion. Unless someone can bring about some actual evidence to show me, and I mean show me someone being controlled against their will, they are being controlled to do things against their will, then I'll be forced to believe that. So call me Doubting Thomas on that one. But moving on to the impeachment inquiry, like I said, that's the big news item. This is the big thing that it's been going on. Democrats are going to say it's been a spectacular day for them. All right, there's going to be a lot of political, partisan, biased injection into what happened today. So I want to try, like I said before, I try to have a reasoned approach to things. I try to not inject too much of my own personal politics into this. So from my objectives, or at least as objective as I can possibly be, point of view, I think that today the Democrats are gonna be happy because they were able to put on this theatrical show that pretty much hit the points that they were hoping to hit. And on the opposite side, the Republicans also were able to counterpunch on all of this. Because the biggest problems that the Democrats have with this whole impeachment thing, apart from the fact that it has zero foundation in reality, frankly, and is completely partisan, is the optics. The whole thing has been incredibly poor optics for the Democrats. It's been shown over and over and demonstrated over and over that essentially everything that the Democrats are doing just has this air of partisanship. It's totally trumped up. That's right, Mom Patch. Yes, good one. It just shows an air of contempt for the president, contempt for the system. Who cares about the rules? They say one thing and then they contradict themselves the next moment. Like Pelosi was saying, "Oh, impeachment is supposed to be it's going to be a bipartisan thing. We won't go ahead with impeachment if it's not a bipartisan thing." Now, guess what? Only the Democrats voted for it. No Republicans voted for it, and some Democrats defected when the voting happened in the House. Now, all of a sudden, who cares if it's a partisan thing? They're just going to keep hammering away at it. Because really what it boils down to is this. They don't care about the impeachment. I don't think they even care if they're going to be able to impeach the president or not. Their whole goal is smear. Smear, smear, smear. Damage, damage, damage. It's death by a million pricks, essentially. By a million cuts. They're trying to just keep hurting the president's like optics of the president. They're trying to put the president in a constant bad light because they want to plant the seed of this guy is unethical, this guy is a liar, this guy is not good for being president. He only cares about himself. He only wants to enrich himself. He doesn't care about America. And the problem is that it's so they've been doing that ever since he announced he was going to run. They've been saying the same thing over and over, and they just keep escalating the stage and increasing the volume of their spurging, essentially, of their just screaming at the sky. They just keep yelling louder, and they keep building a bigger stage. So they keep upping this ante, and eventually what's going to happen is what's happening now. Every time they get louder, people go more and more and say this is just stupid. Because when you actually look at the facts of the impeachment, if you look at the facts that are being put forth, there's really nothing there. I mean, I saw a tweet that someone was saying this isn't even a nothing burger because there's not even the bread for this one. And that tweet was absolutely spot on in my opinion. So this is what it boils down to. Like I said, you have this ambassador and a was he a secretary or a delegate or something like that? I can't remember the other guy. He all I remember is that he had a horrible little bow tie. And yeah, the fact that he had a bow tie was just kind of funny to me for some reason. Like in 2019, you're still wearing bow ties. But anyways, beyond that. Well, Taylor was the ambassador. There was Ambassador Taylor, and then there was the other guy who I believe he was a delegate for the Ukraine. He was some other bureaucrat politician. I'll look up his name eventually. Like right now, since I'm kind of going, like these live streams for me is a bit of a stream of consciousness sometimes. So I don't always have all the information right in front of me because like I said, I don't really do a whole lot of preparation for these kind of things, to be honest. I try to. I tried to do some preparation, but this stream was mind-numbing, frankly. For 5 hours listening to these people drone on, and Taylor did seem, I saw up in chat, kind of showed up that stream. Uh, that Taylor did not come off as a very intelligent person, which it kind of is true. I mean, they were trying to prop him up as being like, oh, top of his class and the 1 percentile at, whatever. And I get that. I mean, I get that. Some people can do well academically. It doesn't mean they're smart. Intelligence does not equate to doing well in school. I've seen people that can do incredibly well at school. They're at the top of their class, valedictorian, summa cum laude. And then you talk to them, and they are just dumb as bricks. It has nothing to do with their abilities. It's just if you're able to do well in academia. Book smart is not the same as street smart. That's true, but it's not even so much book smart versus street smart. It's also just a matter of you can do well in a structured system like a school, or you can do well at your job, but you can still be an incredibly stupid person, or just be incredibly biased and not be able to accept facts for what they are, or not be able to use the information. Like, you may be able to absorb all this information and regurgitate it, but you may not be able to use that. It's a cognitive thing. Or you have Asperger's. That's possible, Mom Patch. Yeah, that too. You can be. I've known many people that are like that are do very well in academia. Because they just know how to use that system very well. It works well with how their brain's wired. But when you actually have a discussion with them, they don't know how to use that information in any meaningful way. They don't really have the proper cognitive abilities. I wouldn't even say highly intelligent. I would say that they are kind of spongy. They can absorb information. They just can't. They don't have the cognitive capabilities of using that information in a meaningful way or relaying it in a meaningful way. Many professors, for example, in my academic days, they were very knowledgeable and very experienced in their field of studies. Like, you can ask them very intriguing, technical, obscure questions about something. But then when you needed them to just explain something basic to you, they failed to be able to teach this basic concept to you because they're so used to thinking at such a very highly technical level that they were able to answer these really weird technical things because they started just regurgitating the information based off of the subject. But when you ask them something more basic just to kind of help you understand the theory behind things, they were just very poor at that. But kind of going back to the impeachment, where I kind of went off on a tangent there. Taylor did come off as someone who he didn't come off as very intelligent. He seemed to struggle to understand questions. And he also, that is actually also true, Dora. Most people in academia do tend to over-specialize in their fields. They get so lost in the weeds. Yeah, it's like a hyper-focused environment for only that kind of stuff. So they kind of lose the ability to communicate properly. Yeah, I completely agree. That's kind of what I'm talking about with what I've experienced as well. But back to the inquiry, Taylor did come off as someone who just wasn't very bright, in my opinion. He seemed that he was spoon-fed all the lines that he was supposed to say. He had a hard time understanding questions. He needed repetition a lot. That doesn't sound like someone who's very smart to me. And then again, that's maybe why he's an ambassador. I don't think you need a lot of intelligence to be an ambassador. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. From what I could observe from what he was saying and from other ambassadors that were put in place by the Obama administration, by George W. Bush, I don't really feel like you need a lot of brains for that. Yeah, and that's the big. And Mom Patch is absolutely correct. That's the big takeaway today, is that this whole impeachment, there were two major themes. One was everything was hearsay. I heard it from someone who heard this, who heard it from someone else. It was kind of like that song. I've seen a lot of posts. I've seen a lot of posts for REO Speedwagon today on Twitter. Heard it from a friend who heard it from a friend who heard it from another. You've been messing around. Anyways, that's really what it was. The whole the whole testimony that these witnesses provided was purely hearsay, and it was hearsay upon hearsay upon hearsay. And the stupidest thing I ever heard in my life was a Democrat that thank you, Mom Patch. Flattery will get you everywhere. One Democrat was saying, "Oh, many times hearsay is even more reliable than direct testimony." Are you freaking kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? A Democrat rep actually said that. I don't remember his name. I didn't catch his name because I had my overlays over the stream and everything. But I almost fell off my chair when I heard that. It's probably the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. And I've heard a lot of stupid things in these past 3 years over this whole Russia collusion thing and, Russian bots and all. It's incredible. It is mind-boggling, absolutely mind-boggling that a legislator, an elected official, wouldn't even know the basics of how hearsay works in the courts. I mean, it makes me just want to. It just makes me want to put my hand to my head and just shake my damn head. It really does. Alt-Reich is a Russian bot. Damn you. Damn you, Russian bots. Get the vodka. Okay. So anyways, that was the first thing. It was all hearsay. And then the other thing was, it was all about the feels. It was all about the senses. And you got these people like Taylor, Ambassador Taylor, saying, I sensed that there was something wrong. I felt that this wasn't right. I didn't think this was a good thing. Okay. So what? So what? So what if you felt that something wasn't right or not? Was it actually not right, or was it just your own disagreement with policy? Which really, that's what it boils down to. This is the whole thing with Ambassador Taylor and the other guy. They had a difference of policy opinion with the president, and they wanted to act on that because they felt that Ambassador Taylor Swift. Nice one, Jewy. No, the thing is, like, this is what it boils down to. It was pretty much a policy difference between the ambassador and the executive branch. And this is where the conflict lies. There was no quid pro quo. There was no extortion. There was no bribery. There was nothing of the kind. Zelensky himself, President Zelensky of Ukraine, said himself that they didn't even know that things had been withheld for a while, and they also never felt pressured. They never felt pressured. They never felt extorted. They never felt bribed. They never felt anything at all. So that's really, if the president of the Ukraine himself says this is a bunch of malarkey, frankly, and that there's a transcript that's out there that pretty much shows that there's nothing going on. I don't know why you're doing that, Magna. What's going on? I don't I don't know why you're spamming that in my channel. I don't understand. Anyways, this is a family show. Okay. But regarding the transcript, Trump is going to release a second transcript to show another call that he had with the Ukraine, which shows essentially that there was nothing going on. And what's going to happen, I think, is this. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, I think that Schiff and the Democrats, I have a feeling they know they got nothing. They know they got nothing. They don't have anything on that's impeachable. So what they're going to do is just this whole smear campaign. They want to plant the seed of doubt into the American voter and tell them this guy isn't good for re-election. You can't you can't vote for him. Don't make him win. He's not ethical. He only wants to enrich himself, which is not true. Trump has actually lost a lot of money being president. He's also donated his salary. I don't know of any president that really. I think George Washington donate his salary? I think George Washington was the only other president that ever donated his salary. Beyond that, I don't think any other president has done that. And that's actually something that I've always wanted to see in a president. I've always believed that a president should not take a salary. I've always believed that. And I don't even believe that representatives and senators should be taking a salary. And I believe that everybody in government should be subject to term limits. I really think that that's the case. Thanks, Jewy. Whoop. The heck was that? My phone is being weird. Okay, so anyways, so what it boils down to is this. This impeachment inquiry is a circus. It's just a joke. It's being run like a kangaroo court. Schiff. Wait, Spook is replying to what I said here. Hey, Abyss, that's dumb. The only money could get the job. That's kind of the case already, but it'd be even worse. No, I don't agree with that because Texas uses that model. They only give a very minimum stipend, not enough to live off of. You have to be able to live with whatever you have on your own. And the thing is this, generally, I would imagine that you want someone who has capability, who has skills, who's able to live on their own without depending on the teeth of the government. You know? They shouldn't be getting special health care that only government people get, that elected officials get. They shouldn't be getting $400,000 a year to be president. They shouldn't get six figures to serve their country. Because if you're at that level, at the federal level, guess what? You're gonna have many opportunities to make a lot more money without having to take it from your own constituencies and citizens. In fact, most people, that's what they do. They make a lot of money off of the fact that they're in politics. They're on TV all the time. They write books. They, do all sorts of things to get money. Exactly. You want to be a leader, Troll 327E. You're absolutely right. You should want to be a leader because you're good at it and you want to serve your country, not because it pays well. That's begging for all the wrong people to come and fill the positions. That's right. You get grifters. You get people that, pardon me, you get people that go into government to be career politicians. And Texas is one of those few states where they don't really pay people to work in their state government, in the state legislature. State senators get a small stipend, not enough to live off of. You have to be able to already, survive on your own without having to depend on the government. So it's not like they give them zero, but they don't give them. They don't. I think they give them a stipend of. Last I checked, I think it was like $23,000 or something like that a year, or $25,000 a year. Well, you need money to run, yeah, but you don't need to. You don't need to get money from government to run because you can't even use money from government to run. You have to solicit donations from people. The only people that are running right now are wealthy. See, Spook is saying you need money to run, you need money to live. You'd only get highly wealthy running then. That's already the case. That is already the case. I think that the system could be fundamentally changed where you don't necessarily have to be rich to run, but you don't need to go into government because you want to be you want to make it a career. You want to go there to serve. And Chetnik, that's right. If you were president, you make money from donation and job opportunities after. Do you know how much the Clintons have earned just on speaking? You'd make millions writing books and speaking. That's it. And Chetnik is right. People don't. You wouldn't have a homeless guy running for president. Nobody would vote for someone who can't be successful on their own. But the problem what we have now is our system actually rewards failure. It actually encourages people who aren't good at what they do to get into government. I mean, look at who we have. You have Bernie Sanders, who hasn't worked a real job in his entire life, and this guy makes six figures and has multiple homes. You make millions on books and speaking already, Spooks? Well, hey, why don't you donate then? Streamlabs.com/TheEternalAbyss. Come on, be my sponsor, Spooks. By the way, if you do care to donate, streamlabs.com/TheEternalAbyss. I appreciate anything that you want to do to help support small creators and streamers like myself. Conservative voices are being silenced by big tech, the government. No, not the government. The government isn't really silencing us, but the I am poor. That's right, Jewy. But anyways, the point is this: government should not be the place to make a career. Government should be a place where you go to serve your country and serve your fellow citizen. That's really what it should boil down to. So I think Texas is on the right track in how they did it. It doesn't necessarily mean that every state has to do that or even the federal government has to do it the exact same way. They could probably develop their own methodology. But I do feel that there are way too many grifters, too many people that are just suckling on the teeth of the government, and I don't think that's a good thing long term, Mom Patch is giving some advice. Here's my relationship advice as requested last night. Marry up. There you go. Yeah, that's it. Mon patch is based patch. So tomorrow there's going to be more streams for the impeachment inquiry. I'm going to try and snipe all the streams. I'm going to try and do that. So bear with me if I run into any technical difficulties because I'm doing it remotely, and I'm gonna try and make sure that my internet is a bit more stable. Today I was solely streaming off of Wi-Fi, so when I was going into my box remotely, I was running into a couple issues. So hopefully tomorrow and moving forward, the streams will go a little smoother. I'm gonna play around with my whole interface here. It's just too messy. I don't I don't like it. I want to put the quote. I want to put the Supreme Reader. I want to do some stuff, but I feel like I need to segment it a little bit here, a little bit better. And I may even change my background a little bit, even though I like my background. I don't necessarily want to get rid of the background. I think the background is good. It's just all these little things are kind of all different sizes and widths and heights, and it's driving my OCD a little crazy here. Um, so I think we're about at the end of the stream. I don't want to make this a very long one. I have a couple of things that I gotta take care of after the stream. So I want to thank everyone for watching. I want to thank everyone on Bitwave. I want to thank everyone. Take the. We've been over the Judeo-Christian thing, Dora. Though I am Catholic, so it actually would make a little bit more sense for me to just leave it as Christian instead. So I'll actually think about that. I'll consider revamping the background text a little bit. We'll see. I don't know. But you're very welcome, Troll327E. I'm not a pro-Israel shill, Troll F483. I'm only pro what is beneficial to America, and whatever is pro-beneficial to America, I'm good for. I'm okay with us having European allies, Asian allies, African allies, South American allies, Middle East allies, as long as those allies actually benefit the United States. If we're paying these countries, we're supporting them, we're giving them technology, weapons, providing them infrastructure, we're doing all sorts of stuff for them. Uh, there has to be something that comes back to us, because they have to be. If we're investing in these allies, there has to be a return on that investment. I don't know if we don't have any South. Oh, you're saying don't have South American allies, Dora? I don't know. Well, we do have some allies that no matter what, they generally stay by our sides because of historical reasons too. Like the UK, believe it or not, even though we don't agree on a lot of things with the UK, especially lately with the whole Brexit thing, the UK and the US are pretty strong allies no matter what. We've usually stuck together. Japan is a pretty good, strong ally with the United States. Japan is a good ally, yeah. Italy is a good ally too, actually. Um, yeah, Dispatch, listen to your mom. Don't interrupt me. uh, Anime land shall be defended. Oh, yeah. Pardon me. But yeah, I mean, it's good to have allies, and even if we're supporting allies, and sometimes we may not see a return on that investment immediately. But I do think that if we are paying into our allies and helping them in certain ways, that they should bring a benefit to the United States. They shouldn't just be taking our milk and honey and then that's it. That's not really how a mutually beneficial relationship works. So hopefully all of our allies will work with us to not only help their interests but also help our interests. There has to be a mutual benefit. You know that's really what it boils down to. But as I said, I will end the stream here. I want to thank everybody for watching. This was a relatively short stream, I think, compared to my other ones. Sometimes I run a little longer. And I want to thank everybody on YouTube. I want to thank everybody on Periscope. I want to thank everybody on DLive. And I want to especially thank everybody on bitwave.tv. And please remember, follow me on all my social media. I am on Twitter, Gab, Parler, Minds. You'll find video archives on BitChute and YouTube until YouTube kicks me off. And there's also another platform that I've been playing with called Libri, I believe. Let me see if I can get the proper spelling of this for you. Yeah, Libri, LBRY. It seems like it automatically archives everything that I do, so I have a double archive in case something really goes sour. So check that out too, I guess. Let me know how it is. I've never really played around with it too much, but I've noticed that it's not translating over any of my screen, my video covers, which probably I have to go in there and just actually upload them myself. So we'll play around with that. And again, if you want to support me, I appreciate that. It'll help increase the production value of this. It'll help me spend more time working on this instead of just having this as a one time out of the week thing that I do just because I have a little bit of time to do it. The more people that watch, support the stream will allow me to help spread conservative values and speech more, which we need. We need to combat the SJWs, the LGBTQ, XYZ, silence, alpha, whatever. The alphabet people. We need the culture wars are it's not over. It's not dead. It's definitely up and running still. So final thought, my usual send out is my usual what do you mean? Huh? Who's not a Trump supporter? I lost track here. Chat's gone crazy. I don't know what's going on. But anyways, thanks again. Have a wonderful night, people. I will get my little outro going here. I just need to take care of something real quick before I get that going. All right. Good night, everybody.